Okay, yesterday we are learning, last session we are learning how to design user-defined data types and how to use the user-defined data types. So you don't concentrate other subject, just concentrate only this subject. Many questions will come out now, but the actual questions what you should get is, the fair questions what you should get is, how you design the user-defined data type, how you use the user-defined type. More than that, you should not worry anything about this now. Okay, so design it, then start using it. Using it is nothing but what? Storing values inside it. Okay, using the user-defined data, it's a very simple concept. You don't make it complicated. Okay, the very simple concept is how you design the user-defined data type and how you start storing the values into user-defined data type. Memory and all will come. Don't bother about that. Okay, so just this is the basic idea now. In all languages, they give this support. In Java also, we'll revisit the same programs yesterday what we saw, and we'll start proceeding ahead. Okay, just I'll give a revision of yesterday's class. So let's see now. So how do you design a user-defined data type in Java? You have to use the keyword by name class. Class is mandatory keyword. So on keyword we start using. There are plenty of keywords in Java. We have covered around 15 to 20 keywords. Like example, control statement keywords, then some control statement keywords, then which are the data type keywords. So many keywords we covered. Similarly, we continue to learn more keywords. One side we are learning more keywords also. At the same time, we are learning user-defined data types also. So this keyword is basically used for designing your user-defined data type. Class keyword is used for designing your or defining your user-defined data type. And user-defined data type is nothing but collection of other data types. Like it can be primitive types. No doubt. Okay, here we are using primitive. So int w, int h, int d. This is how you can design it. Okay, but after you design it, end of the day, next what you'll be doing is storing values only. So Java gives you 4 approaches to store the values in what? 4 approaches to store values in. 4 approaches to store values. So in these variables, what you have declared are called as instance variables. We'll be finding out technically why it's called as instance variables today. So it gives you 4 approaches to store values in store values, or other word we can use is or initialize. That's the perfect word. Initialize instance variables. What are the 4 approaches? One is hard coding. One would be hard coding. Second one would be assign values with dot operator, which I covered yesterday. Dot operator means which one? This one. Okay. And next would be methods. I'll be covering methods today. How you can assign the values using methods. Fourth one would be constructor. Constructor we'll see tomorrow. We can't finish it today, but I'll show you how to assign the values with methods today. We'll be concentrating on this topic more today. But before I go to that level, let us see how you design it now. So when you are designing your user-defined data type, see, one is they should be easy to use, at the same time it should be very powerful also. So let us see the power of Java, of how it gives you today. We'll start understanding. So right now we are concentrating on only what? Again, in user-defined data type in Java can be used for what? User-defined data type in Java can be used for storing values plus implementing oops. We are only studying the first part of it. We are still studying the first part. Later on we'll start studying how you can implement oops in this. So many topics have to be covered. Okay, so we'll proceed ahead with these things now. Okay, but basically initially I'm concentrating on storing values. Okay, and to store values I'll be taking this 3 approach, then I'll complete the 4th one tomorrow, then I'll enter oops. This is the route I'll be taking. Understood? So you should know exactly what I'm going to, how I'm going to proceed. So based on that you can start building your questions also if you have. Yeah, so only concentrate on this today. How you design your data type, how you store values inside that. Implementing oops, encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, all that next. Okay, are you clear with this? So first I'll cover off storing values. Shall I clear all this now? Yes. One of the way after you design your data type, okay, you can store values is you can hard code. So how do you hard code the values? Int w is equal to 5, 6, 7. Any values you can give. These are instance variables. So till now I have covered local variables for you. I have not taught you instance variables. Today I will be introducing it. Technically you will see what is instance variable, why it is called that and all that. Yeah. So then once you define, this is also known as what? You have defined your data type, or defining or designing, both mean same. You have defined your data type. This is actually defining a user defined data type. Now what do you mean by defining? Because before you use it, you have to define it. So primitive types are predefined, but user defined type should be defined. User defined type should be defined. Clear this? So once you have defined it, you can start using. So you compile now. Compiler will compile this. Dot class is generated, but it doesn't mean that it has come into existence. Okay, as soon as you compile, only the bytecode is generated. Source code is not executable code. Always bytecode is executable code. So you'll compile it because this is high level. This cannot be understood by the processor. So we have to compile and convert it into some low level code. But in Java, bytecode gets generated, and bytecode will later on be executed. How will bytecode be executed? You know, Java's performance is good. Just-in-time compiler will come into picture. It will take that bytecode, compile it in one go, and then it will execute. Don't bother about that internal process. Okay, that internal process you don't bother, but we can start using it. Okay, so once you have defined your class, next you have to use it. And this concept is true in all languages. I'm not saying no. All languages you do the same thing. In C also you define it and then you'll use it. C++ also you'll define it, you'll use it. Java also you do the same. So I have defined it, now I have to use it. So let's see how you work with primitives. In primitives you work like this, int x. This is what? Declaring a variable. Same you can compare now. Okay, so declare a variable. See, I'll tell little about memory, don't go more deeper. As soon as you write this line now, actually when the program starts off, 4 bytes of memory will be allocated. 4 bytes of memory will be allocated. Okay, so means x is equal to 0. So only 4 bytes of memory will be allocated because it's of type what? Int. You know the size now. Don't go more deeper. I'll be going to memory later according to how you require. I'll teach you that. So here you are initializing. But see, remember, initialize the variable. But this is declaring a primitive variable. That's the main thing now. You are declaring what? Primitive variable. Declare a primitive variable. Not only int, you can declare even primitive variables are what? Other primitive variables are what? Boolean, float, double, they are also primitive. So if you want to store that kind of a value, you use the primitive variables. Use the primitive variable. Understood? And you will initialize the value, initialize the variable, primitive variable by providing what? Primitive variable by providing which value? By providing primitive value. So there are two types of providing primitive value. In all the programming languages, there are two types of value. In all the programming languages, there are two types of value. One is primitive value, other one is reference value. It will take some time for you to understand what is exactly primitive value and what is reference value. Primitive value are 100% comfortable. There is no doubt about it. We are comfortably covered all the things. Only the some questions what you get is what is reference value. Simple words, reference means address. Okay, but it's a big subject and you can't understand it in one day, because to understand primitive values also we nearly took around 4-5 days. What is whole number value, what is fractional value, what is boolean value, we took around 4-5 days and then you got the idea of what is primitive value. Similarly, to understand reference value will start taking some time. Okay, but if at all you want to store primitive value, what you have to do is you have to use the corresponding type of variable. If you want to store a primitive value, you have to use the corresponding type of variable. Means, say I want to store a value of 0. So that time what I'll do, I'll use corresponding type of variable. That is int, byte, anything I can use corresponding type, and I'm using the assignment operator. I assign the value of 0 to x. That's what you are doing. Are you understanding how it works? And compiler can detect all this. So x has been designed purely because it's of type int. It can store what? Only primitive values of type whole numbers, and you know the range. All that will come now, it will work. Okay, this is how we work with primitives. But pay attention to more of primitives. Reason is user defined data types will become easier. Same process will be adapted for even user defined type. So now this is how it works. Now why did I use x blindly here? Int here blindly because it's predefined. Predefined. Int is predefined, given to you by language. Now language does not give you user defined, because how do language people know what kind of a data type you want? They cannot give user defined type. But what they'll do is they'll give you a mechanism to build a user defined types. They'll give a mechanism. So they are telling you do like this, it will be built. Okay, so we define it, and after defining we start using it now. So how do you use? Same process, box B. Okay, or I'll give the name as B1. B1 is a variable of type box. Okay, you are declaring what here? Declare a reference variable. One of the prime mistake what you people do is you try to give wrong values to wrong variables. Like example, b1 is equal to 5 is error. Why? It is primitive value. Do not try to use such kind of values to b1, because b1 has been designed to hold only reference value of type box. This is the first mistake what you do. Some of the prime mistakes. See, leave this lines. Generally, you write a Java program. What are the mistakes you do now? You'll define your type. Then you start using it. What will you do? Class demo, public static void main you'll write. This is the first line you'll write. Forget these two lines. I explained it to you. After that, you'll start writing some wrong code like this. This is one of the wrong code you write. Okay, because here what is the mistake? You are trying to give a decimal value, or sorry, you are trying to give a whole number value to the variable called as b1, which is a mistake. Type of value is the mistake. Range and all next. If you want to give a value to a variable, first is type of value, then comes size, then comes range. Type of value only fails, it will not proceed ahead. So it is wrong. This is wrong. So you cannot do this, because the mistake is you are trying to give a primitive value. Understood? This is a mistake. Next, now supposingly, because most of you, one more mistake what you, this is the first mistake. Second mistake, you think b1 is an object, but fact is you don't know what is an object only. What is object actually? It is the physical existence of a class. It is the physical existence of a class. Okay, it should exist physically. Now this has been compiled and stored in hard disk. It has not come into existence. Has it come into existence? No, you have to bring it into existence. Only when things come into existence, then only we can say they are instances. General I am telling. English we are talking, or they are examples. So instances are examples. The meaning of an instance is example. Examples are existing things. Like object is an instance of the class. Means what? Object is, you forget Java now. You come back to normal real life. Building is an instance of the plan. Building is an instance of the plan. Building is an example of the plan. Means examples are existing. Understood? Examples are existing. But how do you bring building into existence? By constructing. You have to construct it, and then it will come into existence. So for one thing, there is one mechanism to bring them into existence. Tree, you have to grow. So mango tree is an instance of the tree. Means mango tree is an example of a tree. Means it is existing. Examples are existing. So this tree, plan and all, they are just templates. Now tree means what? What is a tree? Something which has flower, fruits, branches, leaves and all that. But it is not existing. You have to bring it into existence. How do you bring it into existence? By growing. So mango tree is an instance of a tree. Same way, building is an instance of the plant. So you bring them into existence. But the mechanism varies. For a tree you grow. For a building you construct. Same way, in Java you have got the template now. Okay, or it's a plan. You have to bring it into existence. Once you bring it into existence, that is called as an instance. And that itself is called as the object. Java is using, means in English we say instance, normal English, but Java calls the same instance as object. One technical word they have got, terminology. So object is an instance of the class. Object is an example of the class. So classes never exist. We define and design it, but they do not exist. You have to bring them into existence by using a new keyword here. So how do you bring it into existence here? Java has provided a new keyword. Like you construct a building now, you grow up tree now. Here you use, to create an instance we use new keyword. To create an instance of a building, we construct. To create an instance of a tree, we grow. To create an instance in Java, we use new keyword. As symbols, they are very similar. Only that is some things which you can see live. Here, it is virtual. It is virtual. There it is live, you can see it. But here it is virtual. You have to assume now. Clear? So anyway, this is error. So here, that I cleared your doubt. This is not an object. Are you clear with this? So do not try to work with B1. It is not an object. But here one thing you understand, B1 is a variable of type box, but for all reference variables, right now we have got only one class. Which one is that? Box. Later on we will go on writing many classes like this, class test, int x, int y. We will see it later. First we will learn how to write one class. Next I will be declaring one more variable, test t. Just I am telling you. So every reference variable you go on declaring, 8 bytes of memory gets allocated. So one reference variable will occupy 8 bytes of memory. Let it be of any type. Let it be box type or let it be test type. But this is a reference variable. Any reference variable occupies 8 bytes of memory. That we will be seeing later. Okay. So the size occupied by every reference variable is 8 bytes, which we'll be seeing later. Okay, so anyway, we'll forget about test now. First we'll learn how to design one class first and work with one class first. Then we'll go to more classes. So b1 is equal to file, it's not an object. So you have to to work with an object, you have to create an instance. To work with an object, you have to create an instance. And in Java, we use the new keyword. New, and I'll say box. So if you write this much, memory gets allocated. So now what is another kind of memory is getting allocated. So now what happens, your .class file was there now. From hard disk it is loaded into JVM. From hard disk it is loaded into JVM now, and this is box now. So it will have WHND and the values will be, so as you have written, see, as is your plan, same way building will come into existence. If you plant mango tree will only come into existence, coconut tree will not come into existence now. Same way how you have designed your class, same way memory gets allocated. Nothing extra will be there, nothing less also will be there. What you have in your class, same thing comes into existence. So one new memory will be, earlier only B1 was there, it was just a variable. Now when you say new, a new memory will be allocated like this, and the address of this is another memory. See here 8 bytes got allocated, here some more, here 12 bytes will be allocated. 4, 4, 4. So totally 20 bytes now. 8 for reference variable, 4, 4, 4, 12 for WHND. Do not bother much about all this. Okay, just giving you idea. So 4, 4, 4, that is 12, plus 8, 20 bytes of memory will be allocated. Do not bother much, but the address of this memory will be stored where? Into this B1. Understood? So this B1 will be having that address. It's a hexadecimal address which we can't write. I can't write box at the rate of some value it will be. Do not bother about that. So this object will be created. Now this is an object. You understanding what's an object? The memory which comes into existence. This is physical existence. This is physically existing. So your class from the hard disk has come into JVM now, and an object gets created like this. So how you have designed your class, that way the object gets created. So how you want your object, it's the other way around. You have to design the class in that way. Right now we are saying like the class becomes the object. But fact is, how you want your object, in that way you have to design the class. That's the actual way. Okay, so first we'll start understanding what a class is, then you'll understand what an object is. But once you understand what an object is, then you will understand how to design classes. So immediately you will not understand how to design classes now. Reason is you don't know what's an object. Okay, so once we learn what an object is, what's its behavior and all that, then you will understand how to design classes. It's the other way around. Okay, so don't go on focusing on class. Focus more on objects. How you work with the object. Understood? So the more you know how to work with the object, the better you can start designing your classes. Understood? So this itself is called as an object in Java terminology. In simple English it is called as instance, the memory allocation. And see, memory has been allocated, but I want to work with this memory. That's why what I'll do, I'll give the value of that address to whom now? A variable. But to which variable will you give? B1. B1 is a variable of type box, so that is why the address of this object, I'll store it into B1. The address of that object. It's something like in C what you do, you say malloc and you'll assign the value to one pointer. Okay, but here it's not like that. You assign the values to the reference variable. If you don't assign the value, what will happen? In C, it is unused memory. Understood? It's unused memory. Here also you should assign the value, otherwise it becomes unused memory. We'll talk about unused memory later, don't bother. So new memory will be allocated, and once that memory is allocated, see, we are assigning the value. Are you seeing the assignment operator? Is it clear? What does the assignment operator do? Assigns the value from the right hand side to left hand side variable. Right hand side is a value. What type of a value? This entire line will produce one reference value. It will generate one reference value, and that reference value will be stored into B1. And using this reference variable, you start working with that object. This is the actual process how it goes. Okay. So now see, one side we are learning how to design the data type. One side we are learning how to use the data type. Other side we are learning how to store values in the data type. Many concepts are coming up. Focus on these concepts. Understood? How to design, how to work, how to store values. Now storing values using hard coding is bad. We know that. But apart from that, you see other concepts here. What are the other concepts? How you design, how you create object, how you work with that. Okay, now it is perfect. Now you can start working with B1. So after here you can't work with the object. Means here you can't work. It's only declaring a variable. here you can work. It is same here. If I try to use x here, can I work? No. Once it is initialized, I can work now. Same here. B1 I can't work. Once it is initialized, I can work. But how I should initialize? I should provide a reference value, and then I can work with this. So this is how it is done. So now I can start using it. So don't think I'm printing. Printing, you know how to print. SOP you put, it will print. Understood? That is not the case here. How you work with the object you see now. Value of width in box B1 is plus B1 dot W. SOP value of height. See, this is the fulcrum of Java programming. We are almost all entering objects. Don't neglect this code as much as you can code. You have to code this. Value of height in box B is plus B1 dot H. Similarly, SOP value, we are working with the object now. Working with the object is nothing but what? You start accessing that. Working with the object is nothing but you start working with the members. Okay, these are called as members. The instance variables are called as members of the class. And dot operator always is used for what? Accessing the members of the class. Okay, accessing the members of the class. So instance variables are also known as what? Members. So you can access. I am accessing that. Done. B1.w, B1.h, B1, you are printing it. You are working the object. Don't think I am printing values. Clear? So it will print what? 5, 6, and it will print. B1.w is nothing but what? Address it will print. Is address.w. In B1, what is the value of w? B1, what is the address of? Means in this address, what is the value of h? In this address, what is the value of d? It's like that. And if you print here also, if you want, you could have printed SOP value of b is plus b. It prints you the address, hexadecimal address. Before also you print, after also you print, no problem. But here if you try to print, B1, value of B1 is, it will print the address. Okay, but here if you try to print, it is error. Above this line, error. Variable is not initialized. After that you can go on working. So this is done. And if you want, you can calculate the volume also. I'll take int x, which has already been declared. I'll use that variable itself, and I'll write x is equal to, earlier it was 0, noticed? What will happen? It will overwrite. Okay, x is equal to b1.w into b1.h into b1.d. So we are multiplying now. Again, don't think we are multiplying. I know you are very good in multiplication. Again, you have to understand here what? You know how to multiply 3 values, no? That is not a problem for you. Here problem is what? How you are working with the object. How you are getting the values from the the object. One second. So how you are getting the value and how you are using it for processing. So we want to write logic. If I want to write logic, I need values. So how do you get the values? Okay, we access it like this. Okay, understood now? This is logic what you are writing. But for writing logic, we need values. So we get it. And now once it is got, you can work now. Volume of box B1 is plus x. It prints what? 5 into 6 into 7, that is 210. 5 into 6 is 30, 30 into 7 is 210. Any questions? This is one object. But definitely when you design something, you go on using more of it. Like int, will it be used only once? You will use it 1000 times, many times. Same way when you design your user-defined data type, you will use it for storing many values. Okay. So and one user-defined data type is used for storing values of one entity, I told you. Are you aware of this now? What do you mean by one entity? One entity means one identity. One identity will be there. So a user-defined data type is used for storing values of one particular identity. Here the identity is box. But that is normal English. In computer terminology, we call it as entity. Okay. So similarly, you can have entity like what? Employee, student, I wrote. Many are there. So just when you get values belonging to one identity, we start using the user-defined type. Now 3 more values I'll get. Sorry, we are not getting it dynamically. Okay, I want to, now one user-defined data type is there. I'll try to create one more user-defined type. But here what happens? The values will be same. That's the problem. Understood now? So see this. I'll declare one more. Box B2. We'll see how to bring different values later. First we'll work with this only. Then I'll bring more values. So box B2. B2 is, here again B2 is not initialized. Yes or no? I cannot work with B2. Only B2 and variable will be declared. That's it. It will not be having any value. So once I say B2 is equal to new, what happens? One more new memory will be allocated. Same way, but it's a different memory, remember that. So every time you say new memory goes on getting allocated. Every time you say new memory gets allocated. Yeah, you can allocate as much of memory you want. There is no restriction, depending on your hardware capacity. Understood? Leave that. Anyway, so as soon as you say new memory gets allocated. So once you say new, what happens? 567 is there. Again you can print here. You can work. How will you work? Same story will continue. SOP value of width in box B2 is plus B2 dot W. SOP value of height in box B2 is plus B2 dot H. Like that you can print even plus B2 dot D also. What will be the value? What will be the value? Same, no? 567 only. But it's another set of value. See, totally there are 6 values. That you notice. There are totally 6 values. 3 in B1, 3 in B2. Which value you want, you have to get it. Okay, and you can calculate the volume also. Now see, again I'll calculate the volume. X is equal to, I'll just shift the code here. X is equal to B2 dot W into B2 dot H into B2 dot D. Or you can go for another variable, int Y. That's your wish. The value will be overwritten, but remember that. X is having earlier value of what? 210. But again what will happen now? Right hand side gets executed. That new value will be overwritten in X, but it's the same value. What it is? 210 only. But it overwrites. First the right hand side executes and the value will be overwritten here. Clear? And again if you want you can print SOP volume of box B2 is plus X. And if you want you can print the address also. If you want you can print here somewhere what? Somewhere you can print here. SOP value of B2 is plus B2. Address will be different. That also you check out. Are you clear with this? So one side we are learning how to design the user defined data type and how to use it. At the same time we are learning how to store values. Okay. But if you design your data type like this, it is not possible to store different values. That's the problem. It is correct. You can design. You can use. But the problem is it's not a correct design. Because in all the objects what you create, it will have the same value. If you want, you can create one more box B3. B3 is equal to new box. So in the JVM what happens? One more new memory will be allocated. This will be B3 and it will also have what? 5, 6, 7. So totally there are 9 values. 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7. But they are stored like this. In B1 you are having 5, 6, 7. Here also 5, 6, 7. Here also 5, 6, 7. And if you want, means you should write B3 is equal to new box. Then that will happen. So once you do that, now you can work again. SOP B3, it will be a new address. B3.W will be 5, B3.H will be 6, B3.D will be 7. Correct. But the problem is in every object you create, it will have the same value. Check out. Many memories will be allocating new. But the problem is all the objects will have the same value. Are you understanding the problem now? But in every object I want to store different values. Because see, we will never have the same values in all the objects. We actually get these values dynamically. Either from the UI or from database, somewhere we'll get. So as you get the values, what you will do, we start putting the values into one object. Dynamically you start doing it. You'll not hard code like this. Okay, so you'll get the value, you'll put it into one more object. Another some set of values, another object. Means one more memory you'll allocate. There you'll put. Another set of values, again you allocate memory, store it there. So like this you actually go on organizing the values. Understood? So that is why you should not hard code the values in your class. Okay, but sometimes there might be a requirement. All the objects, how many other objects if you want, you are creating should have the same value. This is a good approach. If all the objects you create you want same values, this is correct. But this will be a very rare scenario. One of the extensively used scenario would be what? Different objects will have different value. Why different objects will have different value? Reason is simple, because dynamically the values will be coming now. And once they come dynamically, what you will do? You will allocate on memory, store the 3 set of values there. Another 3 set of values come, again you allocate memory, again store the values there. It's not restricted to 3, even it might be 5, 10, anything. You get one set of values belonging to one entity, allocate memory for that, dump these values that place. It is as simple as that. That's how the actual coding will happen. Are you clear? Shall I clear all this now? So a drawback you understood, but there is an advantage also. Notice, what is the advantage of hard coding? As soon as the object is created, values are ready to be used now. As soon as you create the object, what is the advantage here? Values are ready in WHND. I can use it. If I hard code, there is an advantage. Disadvantage is there. If you hard code, there is one disadvantage. What is the disadvantage? All objects will have same value. Advantage is, as soon as the object is created, object is ready for usage. The values are ready inside it. That's an advantage. Understood? It will not have default values 0, 0 and all that. Okay, that's the next program which will be seeing. It is ready for usage. As soon as you create the object, it is ready for usage. Shall I clear this? This is the first program. Understood? So next we'll go with dynamic values. Means, without hard coding. Okay, we'll go with without hard coding. So this is your class now. WHND. Fine. So now what happens? So you are again defining a user defined type. Let's see now what happens. Same story. Okay. I'm clear of all this. One second. So this time we have not hard coded the values. It's just having int WH and D. 3 variables are there. Okay. So let's see now how you work. Straight away, okay, I'll go with an int x because we'll need it to store the volume. Done. So next, see this box B1. Has memory been allocated? No. Means okay, object has not been created. Object has not been created. So this is again what? Declaring a reference variable. The next line would be what? B1 is equal to new box. Yes, this line what it is doing? Creating an instance. We say creating an instance. Another thing what we can say is we are allocating memory and assigning the value to the variable. Anything you can say. There's so many definitions to this. In fact, this one line or these two lines will take you nearly 4 or 5 days to understand. These two lines which we are writing now, box B1 is equal to new box, will take around 4 or 5 days for you to understand. Okay, very clearly. Right now you understood new is allocating memory and all that, but some questions are pending which will be covered very shortly. So new memory will be created, and this is here what is happening? Creating an instance. Memory gets allocated. So this is your JVM now again. So in this JVM, as is your class, see from the hard disk it is loaded into the JVM now, B1. Okay, so again what it will have here? Same thing, what is there in your class, same thing will come into existence. Same thing will come into existence. But this time, since you have not given the value, your instance variables will have the default value of 0. That's one big advantage in Java. It's an advantage. Your instance variables will be having default value. Why? Because in C you design your structure, and there once you bring malloc you do, if you are not giving the value they will be having junk values. So here it is guaranteed that some value is there and it is of type this. In C unpredictable values will be there in variable. That's one main drawback. Okay. See, always remember you should never have an unpredictable value in a variable. Okay, but Java takes full measures to see that some expected value is there. If you are not giving, some expected value will be there. Understood? And it will be 0. If you want, you print the address, it will print SOP value of B1 is plus B1. It prints the address here. Some address. It might be 150, 250, anything. Do not bother much about that. It's an hexadecimal address. But now see, again don't think I'm printing. Just see how you are working with the object. Value of W in box B1 is plus B1 dot W. Valid SOP value of h in box B1 is plus B1 dot h. SOP value of D in box B1 is plus B1 dot D. Don't think this is just print. You just have to understand here, once you create an object, that if you are not initializing the instance variables, the default values of that will be depending on the data type. If it isn't, 0. If it is double, 0.0. If it is boolean, false. Since it isn't, it will be 0, 0, 0. We'll use other data types. Very shortly, I'll be using other data types. Understood? Right now, we are working only with one data type because we are focusing on class and object. Then we'll bring other data. Okay, once this is ready, so you can see it is 0, 0, 0. So now you can see, but you know how it's working now? B1.w means in that address.w. B1.h means in that address.h. B1.d means in that address.d. So this is what happens. Now I'll assign the value. B1.w is equal to 1. B1.h is equal to 2. B1.d is equal to 3. This is also one more way you can assign. Assigning the value with what? Dot operator. The second approach, one is hard coding, okay, and the second one is assigning the value with the help of dot operator. I am doing that now. Understood? So it will assign now. W will become 1, it overwrites. 2, 3, it overwrites. Assigning means what? Right hand side value is given to the variable to the left hand side. It will definitely overwrite. 100% will overwrite and there will be new values. But exactly what's happening is, you think from the programming point of view, real time means you think from application point of view. This is language, how it works. Other side you see how the language is used for developing an application. When you get these values from the UI user interface or something, this will be dynamic values. These values, what I'll do, 1, 2, 3, you know, like command line arguments, I can get scanf. There's a method like scanf also. We can get like that also. I'll be showing you how to read the values also. So, but once you get the values, examples here. Example is like this. Int A is equal to 1. Int B is equal to 2. Int C is equal to 3. We'll get values like this. As soon as I get, I'll store it here. Then I'll do what you know. A, B, C, I'll put it into this object. It is secure now. Understood? The value of A, B, C, I'll put it into this object. We encapsulate it. Those words I'll use later. Okay, we put it off into one object. But right now we are not talking about how to bring dynamically and all that. We'll just hardcode here only. But these values will be coming dynamically. Understood now? So I'll just hardcode because it will be easy for you to understand. Because if I bring more process into programming, it will be difficult for you to code. Okay, so just I'll hardcode it. But these will come dynamically. So when I get 3 values, I'll put these values into one object now. Okay, I'll put it into an object. I'll allocate memory and put it there now. Okay, 1, 2, 3 is stored here. Now if I want, I can work now. How will I work? Yes, same way. Value of W in box B1 is plus B1 dot W. Means this is guaranteed now. You can check out. Earlier it was printing 0, 0, 0, but now it will print 1, 2, 3. X is equal to B1.W into B1.H into B1.D. As simple as this. Now if I want, I can calculate the volume also, but see how I am working now. I didn't calculate the volume earlier. Why? And no values. There is a question of writing logic. When there is value, I'll start using it. So B1.W is 1 into 2 into 3, that is 6. 6 values assigned to X. SOP volume of box B1 is plus X. Correct now? Correct now? As simple as this. Okay, so this is one memory. Now I get 3 more values now. I should not overwrite here. What should I do now? I should allocate memory. Again, I cannot lose this value. Just because I get 3 more values, I cannot lose this value. So what will I do? Think from application point of view. You get 3 more values now. Again you have to store it. So what you do? To store it, I'll allocate 1 more memory. Now it will become clear now. So what I'll do? Box B2, declaring a variable. Okay, why I am declaring this? Because once I allocate the memory, to work with that memory, I need a variable. So I'll declare it. And now say I'll allocate new box B2. What happens? B2 is equal to new box. Memory is allocated now. And what will the values here? Something like 250 will be there. W, H and D is there, 0, 0, 0. Understood? 0, 0, 0. Same thing. First initially it will be 0 because you are not hard coded. And the default values will be 0, 0, 0. Now if I want, I can give the value. How will I give the value? We would have got it dynamically. Okay, or if you want, you can print and see better. Value of W in box B2 is plus B2 dot W. SOP, print, maximum prints you put, and then you start understanding how the objects behave. So it will be definitely 0, 0, 0. And now what you do, you give the value. B2.W is equal to 5, B2.H is equal to 6, B2.D is equal to 7. That is your wish. Any value you get, you give it there. Store it now. So this set of values will be stored here now. It will overwrite. Now after initializing, this object is ready for usage. I can use this object. So only allocating memory you cannot use. You can use the object only when there are values inside the object. So I will fill the values now. Once I store the values inside it, now I can start using the values. How will I use? Again, if you want, you can print. It will print what? You print and see now directly. SOP. Earlier it was 0, no? Here it is 0. But now it will print what? Value of W in box B2S plus B2 dot W. Same way I can print all the things. Value of D in box B2 is plus B2 dot D. Fine. It will print 5, 6, 7. But see, if I give assign a value here, it is not affecting there. That also you notice. Okay. Are you understanding now? When I values if I store here, it is not overwriting here. So in one memory, it will have its own set of values. In other memory, it will have its own set of values. Okay, now if I want, I will calculate x is equal to B2.W into B2.H into B2.D. So what it will multiply now? 5 into 6 into 7, that is 210. What was the earlier value of x? 6. It overwrites. That value will be lost. If you want 6 also, then this also 210 also, you should have used another variable, int y. That is your wish. Okay, just I'll show you what is overwriting, that's it. One concept I'm showing you. Volume of box B2 is plus, that's 210 it will be. Again, if you want, you can continue writing. I'll continue here. Box B3. B3 is equal to new box. Another set of values I'll get. 10, 20, 30. So I can store B3.W is equal to 10. B3.H is equal to 20. B3.D is equal to 30. Again you print. First you print and then again you print. First it will be 0, then again I'll store values. So again I'm getting 3 more set of values. Again I'll allocate one more memory. Again I'll put it into this now. So how many values you go on getting, that much of memory you go on allocating. It's as simple as that, and you start storing. As simple as this. Clear? So this is B1, B1, B2 and B3. Are you clear? And now see the instance variables. Why they are called as instance variables? Guess? Because see, the instance variables come into existence only when you create an instance. The instance variables always come into existence only when you are creating an instance or an object. Now how many instance variables are there totally? 3, 3, 3, 9. Understood? There are no 15. There are no 20. It's clear. How many instances you create, that many instance variables will come into existence. And the copy of instance variable will be different in every instance. See, this is one instance, this is one instance, this is one instance. In this instance, you are having variable, no? These variables are called as instance variables. Again, these are instance variables. These are instance variables. Okay. So the value of the variable will depend on the instance now. In this instance, the value is 1, 2, 3. In this instance, the value is 5, 6, 9. In this instance, the value is 10, 20, 30. This is the beginning of instance variable. More clearly you'll understand later. Understood? So we have to compare now. Instance variable and local variable, that is secondary. But I'm just introducing you what is instance variable. So instance variables will come into existence only when the instance is created. Comparing we'll see later. Difference between local and instance, that we'll see later. Are you clear with this now? Yes. See, this is how you can assign the values to your variables with the help of what? Dot operator. Okay, but sometimes let us look at the problems here. Why they give the third approach for initializing? Why they give the, okay, let us summarize this one first. What is the advantage of using dot operator to assign the value? What is the advantage? Every object can have different values. Every object can have different set of values. What is the disadvantage? As soon as the object is created, the object is not ready for usage. As soon as you create the object will not be having values only. It will be having what? Default values. One drawback is there. Let us compare both again. First one, hard coding. What is the advantage? What is the disadvantage? Hard coding. All objects have same value. Hard coding means if I assign the value at w is equal to 1, h is equal to 2, d is equal to 3, all objects will have the same value. But advantage is as soon as you create the object is ready for usage. That is advantage. Here, advantages I can give different values, but disadvantages as soon as the object is created, it will have its own set of default values. It will be having default values. So that means object is not ready for usage. Hard coding object will be ready for use, but here it is not ready for usage. Clear now? So in one scenario you will require one support. Java is giving you that. Don't think this is good, that is good. Okay, depending on scenario you will be using one type, means one style of initializing. Clear? So now I'll move to the third approach. Which one is that? Methods. But why are they giving you support to initialize the variables with the help of methods? Let us see. Why first, then how next? Why they are giving you the support for initializing with methods? First question, that one. And how to do it will be very simple. Okay, once you understand why, what is the problem, see here. I have allocated memory for B1. I might fail to initialize one variable now. Might forget or do something. I might fail. Here also I might fail somewhere. Here I have failed to initialize D. In B2 I might fail to initialize D. In B3 I might, means if there's a possible chance that I might fail to initialize the value. Possible chance. If you fail to initialize the value, object is not ready for proper usage now. You can't use the object properly now. That's one thing. And one more thing is see, that is one problem. You might fail to assign. Other problem is, notice, you are writing the code redundantly again and again. Every time you create the object, what are you doing? Again you have to write the initialization code. Again you have to write. Again you have to write. This is redundantly you are writing again and again. 3 variables, okay. What if there were 20 variables in your class now? How much redundant you will write now? Supposingly if I have around 10 variables or 20 variables here. Imagine the initialization code, how you will be writing now? 20 lines you will be wasting for what? Only initializing. Another 20 lines for what? Initializing. And you hate when your size of the program increases. Yes or no? Because you always count what? Before coding you will count number of, only 2 things will be worried. Number of lines, second thing is what? Memory. Apart from those 2 things you will not be worried only. And one more error what you will be looking is semicolon. Okay, that is different. Okay, so now see, let's come back now. So here that one is we might fail to initialize. Got the problem? Or second one is we might have more values to initialize and it becomes redundant coding. One is redundant coding problem, other one would be failing to initialize. Redundant means repetance or duplicacy. Okay, so that is the problem. So for that, what I'll do now, we'll add a method inside the class. So that's how your user defined data type starts growing now. Okay, this is one brilliant feature of Java which is not being provided by C. Okay, it is good also, at the same time it is user friendly also. Look at that, both you see now. It's very powerful, user defined data type. So I'll have one method here. You know how to write a method now? And you can give any name to it. I'll give the name as fun. And what does the method have generally? Parameter, name, return type, all that story you know. 4 parts it has. One is the return type, second one is the name, third one is the parameter list, fourth one is the body of the method. 4 parts. Okay, here parameters is mandatory for me, but I don't want a return type. Why? You will only understand now. So this is how you start writing methods. Logically, you will write a method with some experience. You really need a lot of experience to write methods. Even though they look very simple, but it needs experience. And gradually you will understand how to write methods. So what I am doing is, I want to bring the value from there and give it here. So what I will do, I will declare a method, see this now, int x, this is the parameter list, int y, int z. 3 parameters are there. So return type, one is what? Return type, 2 is what? Method name, third one is what? Parameter list, and this is what? Body of the method. You know this. And the return type is void, because I do not want to return a value, but I want the parameters because I am going to send the values from to this method, from the caller method to callee method. Why do you use a parameter? To accept values from caller to callee. As simple as that. And now it's very simple. W is equal to X, H is equal to Y, D is equal to Z. Your class is ready. So we want, see, end of the day, why did I write a method there? To store values. More than that, nothing else. I just want to store values there. I'm just writing a method. This is one of the approach you can take. Okay. So now see, let us come back to the same program. This is third program in fact, but I'm using the same code to explain to you. Again, I can't go on writing. Understood? So let us assume we started from the beginning now. Okay, what will you do now? Int x is equal to 0, box b1. b1 is equal to new box. Memory is allocated. Yes or no? And remove all this. So one memory in the JVM. This is JVM for you now. One memory in the JVM gets allocated. Default values of WHND will be again 0 because you are not hard coded. Understood? Plus you will have one method. One second, I'll write it again. This one. One new memory will be allocated like this. This is B1. You'll have WHD plus what is there inside your class? Method now. That also will come into existence. What is there in your class? Everything comes into existence. Okay. So this is void fun int x. 1 second. Int x, int y, int z. What is there in your class? Whole thing comes into existence. And you are written what? W is equal to x, h is equal to y, d is equal to z. This is 150. And the default values of WH and here also would be 0. Same thing happens. The default values here also would be WH and D. So now see, let's compare only one line now. Box B1. B1 is equal to new box. Only 2 lines you take into consideration. Forget others. So in that line, these things will happen. Now, if you want to print and see again, B1 will print on address. B1.w print what? 0, 0, 0. All that you check. But now to initialize, I will not take this approach. What will I do? I'll call the method. How will I call the method? Using dot operator only. And here all are called as members. What are the members of the class now? 3 instance variables and 1 method. So there are 4 members of the class. There are 4 members of the class, and any member of the class is accessed with dot operator. Understood? Any member of the class is accessed with dot operator. Clear? Fun is also a member of the class. It's an identifier now. I can access it. So but to access, what will I use? Dot. Understood? So very clearly now see this. Simply I'll call the method. Instead of writing 3 lines, I'll just call the method and I'll send the arguments. Now who is the caller of the method? Main is the caller method. Who is the callee method? Fun. I wanted to send the value of 1, 2, 3 to from main method to fun method. Main is the caller, fun is the callee. Now they are arguments. Don't think, see here again I'm telling you, we are hard coding. But values will come like this. Remember this. So these will be the values A, B, C. So what will I be doing actually? B dot fun of A, comma, B, comma, C. What are A, B, C now? Arguments. What are X, Y, Z? Parameters. So the value of A is given to X, value of B is given to Y, value of C is given to Z. That same thing happens. Understood? But instead of doing like that, just I'm reducing the complexity for you. We'll do it later. I'm hard coding the values here. 1, 2, 3. So when you call this method, see, you're calling b1.fun. So when you call b1.fun, you earlier, see, how did I access? Again, notice, after allocating the memory, I access W. How? Dot. It's printing 0. Don't look at printing 0. I accessed with dot. I can access all the 3 now. Similarly, I'm accessing what? Fun method also. And I'm sending the values. So see how we are accessing. So once you send it, the values are given to what? X, Y, Z. What is the value given to X? 1. What is the value given to Y? 2. What is the value given to Z? 3. So 1, 2, 3 is given to X, Y, Z. Now what is X, Y, Z doing now? It assigns the value to W now. W is equal to X, H is equal to Y, D is equal to Z. Getting it now? So from X you are assigning the value, means X is a value on right side, W is a variable on left side. So it overwrites 1, 2, 3. This is one more way of doing it. Very simple. Write a method, send the values. You got the 3 values. Assume that you got the 3 values. You created the object and you gave the values by calling the method. Now one line will solve all the problem for you. So let it be 3 or 5 or 10. Depends now. So how many values you want? You can send them. Right now for this method I can send 3. But assuming that there are 20 instance variables, now I have a parameter of 20. But one line will solve your problem now. Instead of writing 20 lines to initialize your variables, I am just writing only one line to initialize the variable. It's much easier. See, earlier 3 lines for 3 instance variables, 4 lines for 4 instance variables. Now only one line. And in that line only I'll send all the values. Finished, over. Now again you print. What it prints? 1, 2, 3, same story. Now if I want, I can use the value. How? b1.w, b1.h, b1.d, correct? You can use it. And again I can print the volume, correct? So next, b2 is equal to new box. I am getting 3 more values. What will I do now? Again b2, one more memory. So it will have w, it will have w, h, d, it will have again what? Void fun, same method, int x, int y, int z. W is equal to x, h is equal to y, d is equal to z. One more memory has got allocated. Again after allocating memory, the default value of w, h and d would be 0. Print and see. It prints 0, 0, 0. After printing 0, if you want you can assign the value. How will you assign the value? Not like this anymore. Simply call b2.fun. So you are calling the method in which object? b2. You can call the method anywhere, b2.fun, and I'll send the values 5, 6, 7. So b2.fun means the method here gets executed. Value of 5 is given to x, value of 6 is given to y, value of 7 is given to z. From x, y, z you are assigning the values to w, h and d, and it overwrites 5, 6, 7. Now I can use the value. How will I use the value? Like this. You stored it and later you will start using it. As simple as this. So instead of assigning it with dot operator, I chose the path of going with methods. Okay. So what is the advantage of using a method? Reduction in code. One advantage. Okay. And one more thing is we can give different values. For every object I can assign what? Different values. And these are instance variables. Yes or no? In this instance values are 1, 2, 3. In that instance values are 5, 6, 7. Are you clear with this? So here what happens is we are initializing the values with the help of method. Okay, advantage of using a method, yes, I was talking about advantage. You can give different values also, and plus there will be reduction of code. But what is the drawback of initializing the values with method? Same problem. What is the previous problem? When you create the object is not ready for usage. Object is still not ready for use. First you have to create, initialize the values inside the object by calling the method, then use the object. That's one headache. We'll see how we overcome all this. But that's one drawback. Understood? Are you getting the point? 3 points now? See, if I go with hard coding, let's see the advantage and disadvantage. We'll classify all the 3 now. Hard coding advantage is object is ready for use. Drawback is all objects have the same value. Okay, assignment operator, advantage is I can give dot operator. If I assign the value with dot operator, I can give different values. But problem is, when the object is created, it is not ready for usage. With methods, okay, again the thing is I can give different values, but the problem is as soon as the object is created, it is not ready for usage. One more advantage is there is reduction in code. So see all the options what you are having now. Okay, do you get so many options in C for initializing your values? No, that's the problem. So it is a good data type. It's a very rich data type, which in Java is you are having a very good data type. Plus it is comfortable to use also. Understood? No pointer headache, all that is not there now. Very comfortably we are working now. Clear this? Okay. And see now, these are called as members of the class. What do you mean by members of the class now? The instance variables and the methods put together are called as members of the class. Members. So your instance variables can be means both are members only. What are the different members of the class? Instance variables, methods, they are all members only. And how do you access the member? With dot operator. It will become clear now, very clear it will become. The members are always accessed with the help of dot operator. To access the member, you should know which is the member. One of the prime mistake you do know what? Once the object is created, now see, carefully notice, x, y, z are what? Parameters. Parameters are also known as what? Local variables. Now this is local variable, but WHND are instance variables. By chance, there is no use of it, but just I'll write here int something like L is equal to 6, or I'll give it as 9. Any value you give, that's your wish. But now L is local variable. L is local variable. X, Y, Z are also, all parameters are local variable, we know that, but all local variables are not parameter. So this dot operator is used for accessing what? Members of the class. Understood? And the members of the class are what? Instance variables and methods, not parameters, not local variables. One of the big mistake, again next what you do is, you try to use the dot operator to access what? Local variables, parameters and all that. Understood? X, Y, Z are parameters plus local. They are local only to this scope. I'll be teaching you, I'll add more methods, you'll understand. L is only local variable. X, Y, Z are parameter come local, but L is only a local but not parameter. Fine. But dot operator cannot be used to access that. Try to access b1.x, b1.y, b1.z. Compilation error you will get. Try to access L also. Error. All this will give you error. Same way in b2. b2.x. It is present but I can't access. So you should know what can be accessed, what cannot be accessed. It is present, I am not saying no, but you cannot access it with dot operator. So b2.x is error. b2 dot, you try to print value of x is, value of y is, whatever you want, you try to print. b2.z, error. b2.l, error. You cannot access the local variables. So dot operator is purely used for accessing the members of the class. And you should know what are your members properly. Understood? So the members you'll understand only when you work with the object. So work more with the object, and then later on you'll understand how to design the class. Right now your focus is different. How to write a class you are interested. You cannot write a class until and unless you know what is an object. So learn what are objects first, and then you can write a class very easily. It's the other way around. It's reverse engineering. Understood? You might have a question, to work with object I have to design class. Yes, agreed. But to do that, first you should know how to work with the object. It is reverse engineering. Understood? Once you do it, then automatically you understand how to design the class now. Yeah? So how to design a class, that's what I am trying to train you. That's what I am trying to train you, and you will not understand it in one day. Because when a language has given you a user-defined data type, imagine Java is having a history of 50-60 years. And on top of that, from 1991 to 2013, 22 years have passed. Imagine the history of Java. When they are giving you such a powerful data type, now it takes immense time for us to understand it. At least 4, 5 or 6 days. Now a language which has history of 60 years cannot be learnt in one day, no? Obviously we require time. So the time duration required is for you to understand rather than what? Me completing the course fast. So that is the duration you require. Understood? So are you clear with this now? Understood how to initialize the variables with methods? We get it, we dump it. We get it, we dump it. Like that it goes on happening. Clear? So more will go. Now see, this we found. This is a good solution what we have found. Next, let us see one more. See, now we are almost all reaching the point of reusability and avoiding complexity. I am entering that point actually now. Okay. So why do you write a method? To reuse, to avoid complexity. See now, what happens when I write a method, I can reuse it whenever I want. And I can avoid complexity also. Now what do you mean by avoiding complexity? Next time I want to use a logic, simply I'll call the method. That is avoiding complexity only. Reusing and avoiding complexity are almost all same. Okay, you avoid the complexity by not writing it again. Understood? But still there's some big difference between reusability and avoiding complexity. There's a big difference. Okay, so I'll be explaining you that starts off now. There's a huge difference between reusability and avoiding complexity. Like right now they look same, but as the class progresses you'll understand there are more things to it. Okay, so now once I design this class and the dot class is ready, now this code is reusable in any operating system of the world. So whatever effort you take to design your user-defined data type is worth it. It is paying off now. What you have to do in other operating system is what? Just create object and start using it. Understood? Just create object and start using it. But creating an object technically means allocating memory. But in simplest words, creating an object means bringing the code into existence. Means if you want to use the code again, you don't have to write the code again. You just bring the code into existence by creating an object. Okay, supposing I write this class, you are very happy with the code. Anyway, there is nothing here, that is secondary. But if you want this code, okay, what do? Don't write it again, just bring it into existence. How do you bring it into existence? By allocating memory, that's it, or creating object. Code comes into existence. As simple as this. Understood? So this is the idea of writing a user-defined. You can use it in any environment now. That's one brilliant thing. Second thing is, now this is whatever I wrote in the class is actually called as encapsulation. I'll be pitching that also later. Oops, I'll be talking later, I told you. But just I'm starting little. But your focus should be what? Storing values. Don't deviate. But just I'm giving you an idea. Okay. So I've encapsulated all the things in a class now. What is the reason for encapsulation? Main reason. How to do encapsulation? I'll use a class data type. How to do encapsulation? See, first, what is encapsulation? It is a process of or mechanism used for binding the data with the behavior or methods. That's what is encapsulation. How do you do encapsulation? Next question you get. I'll use the class data type. Now, next question we get. Why do you do encapsulation? Reusing and avoiding complexity. So if I encapsulate this code and keep it in a class, whenever I want to use it, I'll create an object and I'll start using it. I'll not write the code again. That's the great advantage of encapsulation. So all of you have one common definition. What is encapsulation? Very clearly you will tell. What it is a process of binding data with behavior and all that, very clearly you will tell. That is okay. But next, if anybody asks you why is encapsulation done? It's a process of, same you'll rewind and play. Okay. Or how it is done? Same you'll rewind and play. But that should not be the answer. The answer should be very clear. What is encapsulation? Why do you do encapsulation? When do you do encapsulation? All this should be very clear. Okay, we should bring all the interrogative questions. Okay, so we'll see that later about oops, but just I started telling you now almost all oops I'm bringing it now. Okay, but I can't go into oops now because our focus is still on to storing values. I'll move there. Okay, but I just told you the power of reusability Java gives you. The power of reusability. So what we do in a procedural programming, your code is very lengthy. And as the size of your program increases, it becomes very difficult to maintain and manage. But in object-oriented programming, what we do is, we break the code. Some code into one class like this, another code into another class like this, another code into another class. And when we want to use it, just what will I do? Whenever I want to use it, I'll not go on writing now, like procedural, headache. Wherever I want to use the code, create object, use it. Means bring the code into existence, use it. Bring the code into existence, use it. As simple as this. So the size of the program does not bother here. These are the advantages of going for object-oriented programming. I'm not telling Java. These are the advantages of going for object-oriented programming over structured programming. Now, which language you choose for writing object-oriented programming, that is your story. You choose C++ or Smalltalk or Ada or whatever it is, that is your headache. But one of the easiest language and the finest implementation of OOPS comes from Java language. Understood? You want to write a logic? Yes, we are going to write, but you have to choose a language. So like this, the story starts. And among all this, if you do any kind of R&D and come, Java is found to be the easiest. It's very clear. And syntax wise also it's very comfortable. And see this. Now I have written this class now. And I have written the logic here for what? Accepting int value. Because my logic here is based on int values. But if I pass what? 1, 2, 3.5. Check out, I'll get the error. When? Compilation time. So Java does not allow unwanted values into your methods. I have written the logic. I want my logic you want to use. If you want to use my logic, send proper values. Otherwise it is rejected at compilation time. What a benefit you get here. That is type checking. And now you'll start understanding the benefits of type checking. Type checking means argument, parameter, return type, and the person who accepts the return value. All should be compatible. In C what happens? Any value can be given anywhere and problems will start during runtime. So these are all the benefits of Java language. Clear this? Okay. Now All this you understood. Now this program is also neat, clean now. But again we'll see one more level of reusability. One more redundant coding we are doing again and again. What is that? Calculating volume. Why do you want to calculate the volume again and again and again? That's one question. Or I'll phrase the question in one more way. The data stored in this place, why do you want to access and work here? It's better you use the data there only now. Are you understanding now? So we will try to use the data where it is stored only now. Right now what's happening? You are trying to work with the data stored somewhere, used somewhere. That's a wrong approach. That should not be done. Understood? You are storing data somewhere but using it somewhere like this. This should not be done. That is one way of viewing it. Another way is reusability. Why do you want to write the same logic again and again for calculating the volume? Understood? You are understanding the two problems now? One is, why do you want to access the value stored in one place in another place? That is one question what we are having. And second one is reusability. Why should I calculate the volume again and again and again? It continues. So we'll reuse. So we'll overcome these two problems now. To overcome these two problems, I'll add one more method. So we are slowly learning how to add methods into our class, or we are learning how to construct our class, and that's where it gets the word logical construct. A class is a logical construct because we construct it logically. It will have three variables, it will have one method to initialize, it will have one method to use the value. Understood? So like that we construct it logically. So let's write one more method now. So we are adding more members of the class now. So we can go on adding members. Are you comfortable now? Anyway, L I'll remove now. It is not required. Just I made you understand what is a local variable and what is a parameter. Just I made you understand that. See, these are instance variables. X, Y, Z are parameters and local variables. And L was a local variable which I removed because you are not using it. But I first practice that and understand dot operator cannot be used to access non-members of the class. Non-members. So this you should be precise, because tomorrow you should not make such mistakes and look for semicolon. You don't know how to work with the object and you start using the semicolon, it is absurd. Clear? So let's see now. So what I'll do, I'll write one more method. Only reason is what? I want to use the value here only, plus I want to reuse the code. Two reasons. So let's see this now. I'll write a method void volume. For this method, no parameter. No parameter. Okay. So then what will I do here? I'll have one variable int L. Now L is a local variable. L is a local variable. L is equal to W into H into D. Okay. SOP, volume of boxes. I can print it. Volume of box is plus L. Perfect code. I'm just adding more methods, nothing else. So see how your class grows now? How is your class growing? Design three variables, two methods. Perfect. But this is not having any parameters. Return type is void. So why? Again we'll study it technically. Okay, here what happens is, see now I want to use the value of WHND here. Now understand, if you want to use WHND in the same class, I did not use any dot operator. Blindly I am accessing. WHND was accessed here also, WHND was accessed here also. That also you notice. Calculating volume you know very easy. What is there? Multiplication I will do, it's over. But other concepts to be observed here are what? The instance variables in a class can be accessed in any method of the class. Notice, the instance variables of present in the class can be accessed in any method of the class. I can use it in fun, I can use it in volume. But the value X, I cannot use it in volume. Volume I cannot use, it means L I cannot use here. X I can't use here. Why? Scope of the variables. So local variables are local to methods. Slowly we are seeing little difference. I'm not saying complete difference. Little differences we are observing between local variables and instance variables. Again it will take time for you to understand. Clear? So X, Y, Z are local, plus L is also local. The instance variable scope is big. Why? You have defined it at the class level. Notice, what is the scope of WHND? From here to here. Okay, WHND can be accessed anywhere here. Okay, so you can access your instance variables within the same class also, plus your instance variables can be accessed outside the class also. two locations. So within the same class we do not use dot operator, but outside the class we have to use the dot operator. Okay, so dot operator is also a big subject. Slowly the subject is opening up now, how to work with the object. Slowly it's opening up. Clear? So anyway, within the class blindly you can use it. Now to calculate volume, what will I do? See, first again let's revisit the program. Assume that it's another program now. So what will I do? See this. When you say, let's come to this line now. B1 is equal to new box. When you say new, what happens? New memory allocates. So when the new memory is allocated, what's happening? WHND will be 0. Fun method will be there. Plus what will be there? Volume method is there now. And what does volume method contain logic? Int L. What code you have written, same will come into existence, man. There is no change. SOP. Volume of box is plus L. What you have written there, that comes into existence. This is B1. Same thing. Still this object has not been created, I'll create it. Leave this object now. B2 don't worry, because I'm in this line of the code. Understood? So when I say new box, same way memory gets allocated. Print WHND, it will be 0. Now I should not call volume first. If I call volume method first, what will happen? 0 it will print. It will not print error now. Or it will not print junk value now. See the advantage. If you don't initialize any instance variables and try to use the value, at least you can predict it's having some default value. In C what happens if you try to use junk? See the benefits. Understood? So don't try to call volume method until and unless it is initialized. So first I'll initialize. How will I do it? One line. After initializing you print. What will be the answer? 1, 2, 3. So then I'll call the volume method. B1 dot volume. Finished now. So don't write this line now. If you want you can write it. It's still correct. This is still correct. I'm not saying error. If you want you can write like this. Or the other approach is this. I can call the method. Now method will give the volume to you. It prints. But see, now I'm not accessing the value stored in that class in demo class. Noticed? That is one thing which we wanted to avoid. The value stored in one place, we were accessing it in another place and using the value, which is a very dangerous thing to do. Okay, where is the value? There only you should operate it. We say no, encapsulation means what? The methods act upon the data. So if you want to use the value, what should you do? You should use it within the same class. Rather than using the value in outside the class and writing the logic, better is you use the value inside the same class. This is encapsulation. Slowly I'm pitching it. Slowly I'm pitching encapsulation. So where you store, use it there only. Understood? So b1.fun, what is the value I'm sending? 1, 2, 3. Yes, it overwrites. Then I'll call b1.volume. It will print now. What it will print? 6. So b1.volume means I called this method. So the value stored in this memory was used there only now. I did not see earlier you are accessing it in main method. How are you accessing here? As getting the value and then using it. That should not be done. That's a wrong thing. Oops says wherever your value is stored, use it there only. So it will take some time for you to understand because you are from procedural style. In this one what happens now in procedural, you will have one value and that will be used everywhere. A is equal to 5. You can use it everywhere. Okay, so it is global. But in oops, data will be kept in one place and will be used in one location. Difference is this. So there is security to data. Okay, again you are having more set of data. Keep the data in one more place and use it there itself. This is oops. This is procedural or structured programming. Anything. But this is object-oriented programming. Difference is this. So value stored there, I'll use it there only. But in C, this is the approach you take. What do you do in C? You'll get the value and you'll process it. You'll store it in structure now. From the structure you'll get the value and you'll use it. Just I'm comparing the drawbacks. But Java says do not use it outside. Wherever you need it, use it there itself. Java means Java is not telling, oops is telling that. Understood? Oops tells use the value in the same location. Anyway, that's from oops point of view. Coming back to program point of view, I calculated volume. It looks like that. Understood? Yeah, I'm calculating the volume in the same class. That's it. So you are seeing many examples in Balguru Swami book or which one? Complete reference, I am not denying. All the examples given there are giving output 100%, because if they are not giving output, you will never buy that book only. Okay, but that program has to be viewed technically like this. Same program I am also taking, same program you are also going to see there, but explanation is different. We are not ditto to ditto going with that. We are taking the example but with concepts. Okay, now don't think Balguru Swami and Herbert Schilt, that complete reference, they are not intelligent and they could have given all this information. They could have given, but what would have happened? Size of the book will increase now. If size of book increases, what will happen? You will not buy now. It is lost for them now. So they will not give all the information. They know, but actually even they have to do business. Okay, so that's where the book size starts off now. What? 100 pages, 500 pages, 1000 pages, that's it. The more elaborate information you want, you have to buy good books. Good books. I'm not saying this book, that book now. That's the difference. Are you clear? So you're learning methodology only, you have to change now. That's the problem. Okay, anyway, so these are the things. Now see, one object has been created. Let's summarize again. See, B1 new memory got allocated. I call the method, initialize the values, then I call the volume method. It is done. So main thing what I was trying to do is reuse. Okay, so now from reusing point of view, you see this now. B2 is equal to new box, print, 0 it will be. Then in this B2 also what will you be having? Same thing you will be having, void volume int L is equal to W into H into D, SOP it will print. Volume of box is plus L. So this is B2. Don't call the volume method. Here also you get the answer as 0. So first what you have to do? Call the method. It will initialize. Then you call what? Instead of this line, call B2 dot volume. It will print. Over. Reusability now. See, initializing also you are reusing. Calculating volume also you are reusing. So methods are always written for what? Reusing purpose. Now you are seeing the clear advantage of writing methods. We learned to write methods, but we didn't know the power of writing methods. So they are highly reusable. Whenever you want, you start writing it, using it now. Write it once. Technically write it once and then start using it. Understood? So this is how you use it. So this is done. Okay, now see again we'll see there are many dimensions to this program. We can see it now. See, one more thing is, if I want to give the value from caller method, main method, to callee method, fun, I use arguments and parameters. But some scenarios will be there, okay, where you want to give the value from callee to caller also. Possible chances are there. Now I want the value of L to be used in main method. Can I use L? Can I use L? Access L? It is not possible. But I want the value stored in L now. What is the value? B1 dot L means it's having 6. B1 dot volume means this L will have 6. B2 dot volume means this will have 210. But can I access that value and print here? See, SOP, can I access B1 dot L? Error. Why? It's a local variable. And dot operator cannot be used to access local variable. But I need the value now. Understood? So, the question can be put in other way. I want the value stored in the callee method, local variable of callee method to caller. So that is when we go for return. Okay, why I have to return is to consider. I am giving you an idea. From here to there I can send with arguments and parameters. But from here to there I have to come with what? Return only. There is no other approach. And now return becomes very important. You understood why I was stressing on return so much? See now carefully. What is the data type you are returning? Int. Change it. So this is how you logically go on writing a class now. So the value I will receive it there now. I cannot access L, but definitely I can get the value. So when you call this B1 dot fun method, volume method, when I call this B1 dot volume method, see carefully, notice this part of the code now. X is equal to B1 dot volume, 100% valid code now. I'll call the method, I'll get the value. Assignment operator, notice that value is stored in X. And now more thing, what is the advantage of getting the values? I can print a more clear statement. What is the clear statement? Volume of box B1 is, earlier what was your print statement? Boxes, volume of boxes, which is a very absurd answer. Which box volume is what you don't know, but here it is very clear. Volume of box B1 is 6. There it is, absurd, you don't know. It's which box volume is what you don't know, because it's printing a very generic statement. So don't put print here. Okay, end of the day what? I wanted this value there, that way also you see. Otherwise, if I get the value, you can see now what's the advantage. I can print the volume that side. So to print the volume that side, I have to return the value. I cannot access the value. Understood? I cannot access the value. So I'll get it there. Same way, box B2, B2.fun. Now B2.volume. Now here also what will you do? X is equal to B2.volume. You are getting the return type. The value in L is given to you. Caller gives the value to callee by sending arguments. Parameters will receive it. Callee will give the value to caller by using the return keyword. Brilliant. So I can't access the value. So what we do is, we design the class. One thing is we process the values inside the same class. Whatever you want. This is behavior now. In your college terms, this is data, methods are behavior. But more elaborately I'll be explaining you in coming classes. So this behavior can execute only when they are supplied with values. So values, it is getting from there. Okay, are you clear? And you know what is local variable now? So instance variables are accessible within the same class directly. Instance variables are accessible within the same class directly. So many concepts are there. Understood? I start teaching you now everything what I covered. I just summarize. Slowly I'll summarize one by one. Start saying now. Let us go with the summary now. So what is a class? Class is a user defined data type, or it's a logical construct, or it's a template, or it's a blueprint, or it's a plan, anything. Classes do not exist. Okay, see, I'm introducing you all the terminology which I thought you know. You were initially, when I started teaching you this class, I was using plain English words, but by the time I finished the class, I was being more technical. Okay, look at the terms. A class is a user defined data type. Class is one word I introduced. Now object is the physical existence of a class. You have to bring it into existence by creating an instance. So understand now, class, instance, object. Object is an instance of the class. Done? This is one story. Other side. What does a class contain? A class contains members. What are the different members a class can contain? Instance variables and methods. These are the only members. You can have any number of instance variables, you can have any number of methods. That's optional. But that depends on your logic. So a class contains this. So once you create an object, the members come into existence and you can work with that. So you can use your class in main method. We are using it now. So if you want to work with the members of one class in another class, we start using the dot operator. We create object and we start using the dot operator. And you can access all the members. Dot operator is purely used for accessing members of the class. Okay, what are the members? You know. What are the non-members? Local variables, parameters. They are non-members. Try to print or access, you will get error. Okay, and if you want to send values from caller method to callee method, you'll use arguments and parameter. Main is the caller here, fun is the callee. Main is the caller, fun is the callee. Here I have to send only values. I don't want to return any value. Here any logic is there to return a value? Not required. So here parameters are mandatory. Why parameter is mandatory now? Because the values what you get, you want to give it to WHND. That's why parameter is mandatory. For volume, parameter is not mandatory. Notice, because values are there inside the class itself. So you don't need any value. But you need a return type. Because I want to give the value from there to here. So depending on the logic, you will have parameters and return type. The signature of the method. Slowly you'll understand that. So return type. From callee, if you want to give the values to caller, it will be a return keyword. Very simple. So slowly we are getting the idea of how to design the class now. Clear? This is only beginning. Yesterday I gave with very simple syntax. Now it grows. See, there are 4 data types in Java. Remember this. Okay. One data type you are comfortable. Other data types will be same. Almost all same. Will not have difficulty. So practice one data type to the greatest extent. That is one more big advantage. But in C, structure is different, enum is different, union is they are different. Here it's almost all same. One data type you have to put effort. Clear? And it is easy also to work now. What is the advantage of user defined data type here? Store value, reusability. You write your code, you can reuse anywhere now. Then where you store the value, there only you can process the value. You see, all this is not possible. You'll store somewhere, you'll use somewhere. There's no security for data. Here your data is secure. You might say, okay, I can manipulate the value. b1.w is equal to 100, it will change. I'll put restrictions. You can't change the value here so easily. Right now you are doing it. How will you change the value? After calling the method, it is in b1, it is 1, 2, 3. If I want, I can change the value by saying what? b1.w is equal to 100, it overwrites now. We'll put restriction to this. The value can never be overwritten. So data is secure. Values will be used in the same location. It's simple. I'll be telling you later that you make it as private, finished. You make a variable as what? Those who know private understand, those who don't know will be seeing it. Now I cannot access only W. B1.W is not possible. I cannot manipulate. I can work with that variable only with what? Fun method and volume method. Only through methods I can access that value. You can restrict. These are the great benefits of this user-defined data type. Understood? Very powerful, at the same time user-friendly also. See, you don't get this kind of support. Pointer is the big headache there. First you'll have pointer of your user-defined type. Inside that you'll have value now. For that also you can have one more pointer. Pointer to pointer, pointer to pointer, gone. Compare that with C. Now this is 100% easy. Understood? I'll compare. Why I'm comparing is because if I had not compared it with C, you will not learn Java. Why you will not learn? No, you will tell Java only is difficult. That's why I little compare, not for degrading C, just to show you C has its own benefits. I'm not saying no. Okay, but it is very difficult to learn, and it is used in other style of programming. What? Embedding and all that. But very complicated. If you are ready to face all that, fine. But if you are not ready, this is more easy. Package also very good. You want salaries now, you want abroad trip now, learn Java, that's it. C and all C projects are moving to China now. There are drawbacks. No proper openings, tough competition, hardly 2 to 3% of the companies in India are working on hardware. You have to move to application side. There is no other option for you. Whether you are from CS background or E&C. Initially when you are in college, if you are from E&C, you want to invent what? Mobile phone only or operating system only, everything you want to invent. But all things are ready-made. Only enhancement happens. That too where? In India. Maximum enhancement will happen. No research department is here in India. Research department is there abroad only. So that too, because we are not efficient coders, most of the projects are moving to China. Because to code that kind of thing, you need C information. Now you don't like to learn C, means how will you code now? These are the problems. Understood? That's why India is more into application side development, because of resource problem. Resource means resources are there. Thousands of engineers will come out every year, but only waste resource. Resource without any capacity. Fact. Understood? So practice all this. They will be helpful to you later. Clear? Any questions? Do you want me to type and show this? It's very comfortable now. Clearly I written today. Understood? Generally I don't write clearly. Why you know? You'll type as it is. Immediately you'll get output. Then what will happen? You'll go home. You should not write clearly like this. If I make mistakes while writing now, errors will come. There you'll sit and debug. Then you'll learn. Okay, anyway, we'll see it. How to write and not write. Are you clear? Okay. Any questions for the day? But it will build up now. The subject will build up and it will become interesting. Tomorrow I'll be going with more with constructors. First I'll finish off methods. How to write methods inside the class I'll finish. Then I'll go to constructor. The constructor topic is pending. How to initialize. We'll come back to that. But first we'll learn how to write methods inside a class. Once you are comfortable in writing methods inside the class, then we can write constructors very easily. Cakewalk it is. Clear? That's it.